truth is rejected because it requires change. Now, this is the third book in my series from African History Week. As I said before, I'm doing a week in honor of Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And I know it's probably in March by the time I edit this video, but you know, I do have a job to work, so I can't get to it all. Now, the book we talking about is The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality. Is by Dr. Chikana Diop. Dr. Diop was born in Senegal in Africa. He speaks French because it was a French colony. Senegal was a French colony. But he attended college in France. He earned 2 degrees. One in chemistry with a specialty in nuclear physics, and a PhD in history. You know, he was so good at the physics part, you know, he was able to transcribe Albert Einstein's theory of relativity into his native language of Wolof. You know, he had degrees in anthropology, economics, Egyptology, linguistics, and sociology. So this brother was pretty sharp. He know his stuff. You know, now this particular book, you know, even he was even called the Pharaoh of Knowledge. And the university in Dakar was changed. The name was changed after Dr. Diop's death in 1986 to Diop, Chikana Diop University. That's just how great and this brother was. Now, this particular book, and he has photographs of the scrolls and statues to show the African relationship, not only in Nubia and Sudan, well, West African cultures as well, like Nigeria, Senegal, Zimbabwe, even the Yoruba religion. And what he's trying to show is that all these lands in Africa was connected before the European came, you know, and he shows how the European Egyptologists falsified the history of the African civilization. He reveals in detail how the evidence was manipulated to make it seem that the Africans had no part in the Egyptian dynasties, which we call Kemetic. First black race to populate Egypt was called the Anu, after leaving Nubia and Sudan. So they moved up the Nile. You know, the Nile flows is one of the rivers, like the Amazon, you know, that flows to the north. And it also reveals how migration from Africa took place to populate the earth. You know, now we know through DNA evidence that what this brother was saying in 1967, when this book was published, you know, was more than the truth. You know, so Dr. Diop developed the 2 cradle theory of civilization, now known as the Diopian theory. The concept that the severe climatic and environmental differences impact biological and cultural changes in early human beings, thereby resulting in the loss of pigmentation. You know, so that's how the European came into play. You know, I'm kind of like myself, but that's, you know, because, that's because my grandmother was raped, more or less, by a European. But, you know, we ain't gonna go into that right now. The process that Dr. Diop reveals is one that I encourage you to study. This brother is a genius, and I encourage you to get this book, read this book, take your time and digest this book. And you go a long way to getting rid of the miseducation that we've been subjected to. Thank you, and I appreciate you listening to my Black History results and books that I've read and have taken me a long way as far as knowledge of self and the history of my ancestors. So just keep in mind that truth is rejected because it requires change.